Hey, it's Dave here from Cedar Springs Brewing Company. Thanks for joining us. Today we are going to talk a little bit about some one of our typical Bavarian dishes. This is one of our most popular dishes. We're going to make the Jägerschnitzel today, and that is the hunter's cutlet. Now, traditionally in the old days, this was usually made from veal, but most places now will make this from pork cutlet. And you may also see turkey is quite common, and sometimes even chicken as well. So I have the lovely and the talented Miss Chelsea with us today, and we're going to kind of run through both the prep, some of the prep work and getting together the entire dish. So we will have our Spätzle, which are German noodles, and you'll see those a lot in our menu as well. And we're also going to make the mushroom cream sauce that is typical of any of the Jäger dishes. So Jägerschnitzel, if you ever are over there visiting Bavaria and you see Jäger on anything, that's almost always going to be a mushroom cream sauce on whatever the dish is. So let's fire away here, Miss Chelsea. So we've got a little list of ingredients. What are we starting out with?
We're going to start off with the Spätzle. We're going to get our water boiling.
So this is our German noodle portion. So we're prepping the egg. We're prepping our ingredients. We've got some eggs, cream,
just pure milk.
Milk.
Just milk and eggs.
And our flour.
Flour, salt and pepper. That's all there is to that one.
Again, a lot of the German dishes, it's very, very. A lot of this is very simple cooking, and when I was living over there, every place you go into might have their own little twist on this, but the base of this dish is obviously very, very simple. So this is something we do then several times a week. We'll make this up and portion it out so the portions are ready to go when you stop in to grab a fresh meal. So we're looking for a nice consistency on this, kind of like a pancake batter, if you will. And then you'll have a Spätzle maker. Now this is a typical utensil that you would see in almost any German or Bavarian kitchen, but you can use a cheese grater or a colander of some sort. And if we want to come over here, essentially what we're looking to do here is you're throwing the batter in and you're running this over these little holes, and you're creating droplets of the batter that will pop into the boiling water. Now again, we have this is kind of a fancy one, but it doesn't have to be this fancy. You can use a spatula and a colander to do this. But the idea is that you're getting these really irregular drops that pop into the water, and you want lots of surface area on this, because ultimately when we make this sauce, you want the sauce to stick to that surface area and give us a lot of those flavors that we're going to enjoy with our meal.
We want to wait till they kind of float to the top. They're going to about double in size a little bit, and we're going to call it kind of good. And we're just going to.
So we're not really cooking those very long, Chelsea, are we? Like,
No.
As you said, you want those to kind of pop to the top. They'll be nice and buoyant. And you can see when you look real closely at this, if you want to pan the camera in here, that we all have all kinds of nice little irregular shapes. Again, that's giving us a lot of surface area, and it's just a nice, light, fluffy noodle. Easy to make. Do not be intimidated by these German cooking dishes. All right, so we're going to do the sauce.
We're going to do the sauce. We are going to start off with melting our butter.
So our Jäger sauce is our mushroom cream sauce, and again, there's some variations on this. As I mentioned, when you go into a lot of establishments there, they may have their own little twist on the Jäger sauce, but it's still essentially a mushroom cream sauce is what we're making. So we're starting out with the melted butter. Flavor comes from fat and flavor comes from salt. So we want to make sure we have a little of that. That butter is going to give us some of that savoriness that we're really looking for, and it's going to help to saute up and caramelize our onions and our mushrooms. So.
All right, once our butter is melted, we are going to add in our mushrooms and our shallots, and we are going to let these cook down.
All right, so while our shallots and our mushrooms are sauteing down, we're going to get our pork tenderloin. Now this is obviously already trimmed and it's ready to go, and this is the hand way to do it. If a little earlier, I think we shot some footage of Brian using our fancy schmancy German schnitzel machine. But you can actually go to the butcher if you want, and you can ask them just to cube a tenderloin for you or a cutlet, and they will go ahead and do that. But in this case, we're cutting this open, and then we're butterflying the cutlet, so you're getting a nice wide spread here. Now you want to, we want to keep this somewhat safe, so the plastic wrap prevents it from splattering around here. When you go to Germany, one of the beautiful things I love when I go to these small little kitchens is that you are going to hear this sound. A lot of people have this kitchen hammer and you may not use it very often, but this is actually what you'll use it for. So we're pounding out the cutlet. What we're doing here is breaking down those muscle fibers so that you're getting a nice flat, lean piece of meat. A lot of people, when I see home cooks doing this, they don't get this thin enough. You really want this just as thin as you can get it and still hold together. So as you can see, we had that cutlet was about this wide, even butterflied, and now by the time we get this pounded out, this is going to near the size of a small dinner plate. And you can see she's kind of feeling here that she's getting all that sinewy tissue out, and we're breaking the whole muscle fiber completely down. So this is probably the way that you end up doing it at home. As I said, you'll hear these guys doing this in a German or Bavarian kitchen, the sound of the pounding. So there we are. We've taken that cutlet that was maybe 2 inches thick, butterflied, split it open, and then we're pounding the whole thing down. So you have a side-by-side comparison. And again, the nice and thin here, you're really a 1/4 inch maybe in terms of thickness. And again, having that even consistency is going to help when you cook and saute this, because you want it nice and evenly cooked. You don't want to scald the outsides and then have other portions that are raw on the inside. So we want a nice consistent cook so that it's cooked all the way through, but yet still remains tender when you're eating. Okay, how are we doing on our sauce over here?
Our shallots are nice and golden brown, nice and translucent. We are now going to add our flour in there. That is going to be our thickener. We're going to stir that all up in there, and it's going to create a roux. And now we're just going to want to kind of let that cook for maybe a minute or two. You want to cook that flour taste out of it. Our beef broth to that.
So what we're looking for here is a little of that umami flavor that kind of gives you that there's a little mouthfeel to that. It's kind of that savory flavor on the tongue that we get from these dishes. So the beef broth along with the flour, as she said, will kind of make a roux, and we're looking for kind of a medium consistency by the time this is done.
You're going to wash that Jäger sauce just thicken right up, and that's exactly what we want right there. Turn that off. Now we're going to set that to the side and try to let it cool a little bit.
All right, now we're going to saute that pork cutlet. So we got a little oil in our pan, a nice hot pan. And one of the things, again, we don't see at home is you want to generously salt and pepper this cutlet as we throw it in the pan. So we have a premix that's ready to go. Again, salt and pepper equals flavor. So season one side, throw it down on our hot pan, season again the other side. And again, this isn't a long process, but this is just a quick pan sear. Now you can use butter in this as well. Oil is also fine. Again, it's up to you as a personal preference, but we're cooking at a medium-high temperature, so this is going to cook relatively quickly. And again, if you've got it nice and thin, you're not going to get hot spots and raw spots. It'll cook evenly all the way through. You can see the edges are starting to cook a little bit, and as it starts to seep through on the top side, then we know we're getting the heat all the way through and we're about ready. It will shrink just a little bit in the pan. Another reason to pound it out nice and thin and get it a little caramelization on one side. We'll pop that over, so it does not take very long. We're looking at a total cook time of 2 to 3 minutes, maybe max. again, the thinner that you get this, the more consistent you'll be able to prepare these. All right, and now that we've got our cutlet sautéed, Miss Chelsea, what are we throwing in here?
We're gonna go back to the Jäger sauce. It should be kind of cool by now, and we're gonna take it and finish it off by adding our cream cheese or sour cream to this. Get in there.
So a little sour cream that's gonna combine with that umami, and that's gonna give us just a little bit of tanginess. And if you've had the Jägerschnitzel here at Cedar Springs Brewing Company, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now we'll ladle a little bit of our sauce in with the schnitzel, and this will allow our schnitzel to absorb some of those flavors. Pork, the other white meat, is a relatively soft protein, and the same with turkey. And if you put it in there for a couple of minutes, it will start to absorb some of those flavors. And that's what we're looking for as we combine these dishes, is to put these flavors next to each other, and they melt in your mouth. All right, as we get ready to plate our dish, then we'll grab some of our fresh spätzle that we made. Or if you've pre-made this, that's perfectly all right. You can warm this up just a little bit. Or if your sauce is nice and warm, you'll actually pick up the heat right from that sauce. So setting this right on top, and we're ladling our sauce right over the top. And when you get ready to eat and enjoy this dish, you really want to mix everything up, because again, all that surface area from the spätzle will really pick up and absorb our mushroom cream sauce. A Jägerschnitzel. And let's go see how this guy looks. All right, and now we are ready to go and enjoy our beautiful, wonderful Jägerschnitzel here at Cedar Springs Brewing Company. One of the amazing things about these dishes is, as this type of cuisine has evolved, it pairs magnificently with the traditional Bavarian style beers that we have here. We have our modern Weiss beer and our original that are here this evening. And again, a little taste of this, a little taste of that, and these things pair beautifully together. Thanks, Chelsea, for helping us out today.
No problem.
Another wonderful day at the office here at Cedar Springs Brewing Company. We hope you'll stop by and see us soon. Prost.